Well, we are very humbled and honored and excited to be here, Cheryl and I. We feel like we're millennial representatives of this meta-modern movement, which we see as very much a part of the integral lineage. And something really exciting is happening within the meta-modern field. So we want to report back from some of what we've been seeing and experiencing, what we're creating together. It's Cheryl and myself are co-sourcing the Sourcekeepers Guild, but there's actually a bunch of people in the room today who are a part of this project, so we're really speaking on behalf of a larger field.
So how does it begin? Well, there's some quality of its time. And it actually started in 2020 when the pandemic locked us up in our homes. And we had no choice but to go on our laptops and computers and actually start to find the others. And we started noticing this robust weaving of folks from different scenes and different fields to come together into what started to call itself the liminal web. And actually that's how Tucker and I met, and also how we met many of the folks in the space. And with that energy that was beginning to really brew and alchemize, Tucker and I felt this commitment to seeing through how the folks can cohere more deeply.
Yeah, so actually the last time I was at ICON, I gave a presentation on constructing consciousness gatherings, and it was at CC Ontario a few years ago where I met Cheryl. It was early in the morning, and we were just having a cup of coffee, and I felt like, wow, this person is incredible. There's just something about her vibe, just like what Tom was sharing, where I just felt this resonant sense of there's something important that needs to happen between us. And I have that experience so often with so many of you in the room. I know that this week, many of us will have that experience here at ICON with each other. But there was a challenge. There was a challenge that we kept facing, which is we would show up at these beautiful in-person gatherings for 4 days, 5 days, just like we are now, have these beautifully coherent fields. We'd fall in love with each other, meet new friends, and then we would go home. And the group WhatsApp chat would kind of be humming for a couple of days and then pretty much die out after a week. And we all just kind of went back to life as we knew it until the next gathering, 6 months or a year or 2 years later. And it was really at this last gathering. This is a photo of the fire that we had tended by Eric Reynolds. It was Gathering of the Sourcekeepers in Asheville last September. Just felt like something more wants to happen. The field was humming, it was alive, it was cohered, the friendships were there, we've been weaving for years, and some new structure wants to emerge that can help us take our relationships and our responsibility to one another. Because when you fall in love with people, with your friends, you want to support them. I want to see Cheryl flourish. I want to see all of you flourish. And how can we create a structure that can help us do that together? So it was around that fire that the Sourcekeepers Guild was born. It was like a strike of lightning that just came through the middle of the field. The Sourcekeepers Guild is a collective of meta-modern culture builders and vow-based devotion to their unique soul work. We resource the flourishing of one another's projects and potential through spiritual friendship, money flow, and shared practice. So who does the Guild serve? This is a map of soul development that we recently published on our website, which you're welcome to check out. The Guild isn't for everyone. There's a very specific niche that we're calling in, which are folks embodying, integral and meta-modern capacities, but are also have crossed the threshold from the explorer into the apprentice stage of soul development, who have a sense of what their unique calling is, what they're here to serve, their unique vow. Their particular dharma that they want to bring into the world. And sourcekeeping as a term is kind of a made-up word that we don't even really know where it came from, but it basically is describing that one who is embodying their particular dharma in the world from a meta-modern cultural sensibility.
Yeah, so these artisans of soul, these folks who have crossed the threshold of uniquely calling in the work, the dharma that they're here to see in the world, we see them as following soul. And there are these balanced generative protocols. So soul initiates you into your unique individuation. And then there's also field. So the folks that are source keepers are intersubjective adepts, meaning that when we come into space with one another, we are naturally attuned to how to relate with one another, with each other's vows, in such a way that something in the middle can arise. And really what brings us into deep, deep alignment that allows us to actually relax into knowing that we're here for a shared work is our commitment to source, to sacred world, that each of our unique expressions are all in service to the true, the good, the beautiful. And in this way, all three of these generative protocols actually create this coherence that allows us to move in a distributed but also very uniquely expressed way of moving together. So in this sense, we also really see the guild as an alchemical vessel. And we see it as an alchemical vessel for each unique individual's dharma, and also the lineages that already live in us, that have claimed us, that we belong to, because, I mean, it's kind of like falling in love. You're helpless to knowing that we belong to the field of integral, to metamodernism, to soul making, to collective development. And the guild actually gathers and generates and calls into a bubbling cauldron something that can uniquely arise across all of these lineages that is also about the culture that we are longing for, that we know is coming through the middle.
I think our clicker stopped working.
Didn't get good sleep last night.
Are there any suggestions for the clicker?
Oh, it's here. Yay.
So what's our mission, Cheryl?
Well, I mean, stated simply, our mission is to resource source keepers. And these source keepers who are our teachers, our friends, our mentors, our collaborators, we know that we just want to support them because it's as simple as love. It's like when you fall in love with people, you feel responsible to them, you want to show up for them through thick and thin. And in this way, resourcing source keepers is our way of actually midwifing the projects, the dharma that is also moving through and flowing through them. And we know that by supporting each other, whatever this world that we're in love with is actually coming possible.
Yeah, it's not that different from, meeting like a romantic partner and you fall in love and you kind of date them for a few years and then you want to get married and then you want to have kids and actually create something, create a world together. And it feels like the source keepers in this metamodern field, in this metamodern network have been dating each other for a few years. We're falling in love and we want to take this relationship to the next level and build a world together.
Yes. So the guild is actually calling in the gravity and karmic consequence of a vow again. So in modern day secular culture, we want to reclaim what it means to actually make a vow to each other, to our unique soul work, to sacred world, and to see how when our soul vow and our vow to each other in spiritual friendship, our vow to sacred world, when they actually begin to hum into what we really feel is a kind of toroidal coherence, that this deep devotion and commitment to one another can unleash the creativity.
All right, so how is the guild structured? So we are in a year-long prototype phase right now. It started last September. We're planning to officially launch into the world at the end of this September. And right now there's 35 source keepers from around the planet who have said yes to participating in this project. All 35 of those are in the body of the source keepers.
And then we have our heart field, who are 8 of our friends who are stewarding the fractal of the heart mind of this guild. And they're actually on the Zoom today with us.
Yeah, actually synchronistically, every Friday at this time is when we have our weekly call, so that's pretty cool. And then there's the Wisdom Council, folks like Jeff and Abigail and John Churchill, Tom Murray, who are helping to share their wisdom and their elderhood, and also by us as millennials, kind of calling them up into their emerging elderhood in the process.
And then we have our oracular bodies, what Layman Pascal calls the meta-shamanoids, those who are tending to the soil, the soul of the field. So we have Sarah Haggerty, Layman Pascal, Skylar Brown, and Ari Nazim, also in the guild.
And in our resource council, these are folks who are coming together to create a new economy, to prototype how we can take teal and turquoise principles and create a system that can both work within the current broader systems while also evolving them simultaneously. So how do we do that? So and this September, when we officially launch, we're going to have a vow ceremony where people say yes and participating in the guild. And part of that comes with monthly membership dues and also project tithing. So the success of each Sourcekeepers project is the success of the collective whole. That money will kind of stream up into a collective resource pool, and then we'll also be getting contributions from aligned partners through patronage and investment. That money will also be streaming into the collective pool. Then that pool will be governed by a resource council that will determine the best needs based off right timing, right relationship, right flow to move that money through the whole system in a form of like a mutual aid, meta-modern mutual aid network, you could say. Mm-hmm. So right now we are like a mid-construction project, which is really cool to be reporting back at this time. And literally in the next month or so, we're going to be kicking off a bunch of different offerings, from monthly planetary calls to we've already been having weekly heart calls for months, to Sourcekeeper accompaniment support, to soul spotlight sessions, to wisdom elder support, and also 2 in-person gatherings a year, including one that's in Asheville in just a couple of weeks from now.
And we also want to share some of the Sourcekeepers that we're working with. We have Jeremy Johnson, who folks might know here, who's been running Mutations, a school, an academy for calling in integral awareness through Gepser's work as well.
We also have Ariana Barami right here, who's creating High, and High is basically helping helping creatives meet each other and to collaborate together to build a more beautiful world.
We have Rich Bartlett, who's based in Spain, who's running a meta-modern retreat center and is also the source of micro-solidarity.
And Patricia Mu, who started the Commons in San Francisco. There's hundreds of members that come on a weekly basis. It's a sacred secular third space and temple that's developmentally informed.
And we have Daniel Thorson, who's sitting here, who's just about to launch a network for attuned, loving presence to scale.
And Dacha and Ellen McSweeney, who just wrapped up her second iteration of the Nectary. This is a pop-up monastery, a relational school. The last one was in Washington, D.C., really bringing meta-modern and integral practices directly to the people.
Yeah, so this is almost the next generation of folks who are calling in. They've gone all in and said yes to the work that they want to bring into the world. And we're all committed to a North Star that is actually much bigger than each of us can hold alone.
Yeah, and maybe we should talk about Marcelo a little bit. Marcelo is in the Guild Heart. He lives in Brazil. He's creating an integral youth program right now. And really, he feels like there's no one really in his local community that can really grok and understand the full scope and vision of what he's holding. And so in a way, he's kind of like a lone pioneer that is doing this work, and he's trying to find people that can really help support him. So when he comes on to the Guild's heart calls, he just feels this immediate sense of feeling at home, of feeling like there's something in him that can relax, that can be held, that can be seen and received. And it's almost like being turbocharged with energy, with source energy, soul energy, to go back out and do his work. He had a line about the Guild. He said, "What we're building is the new structure that can actually hold the grandiosity of the vow of our lives." So why are we doing all this? Why did Cheryl just leave her 1.5-year-old Io at home who's sick right now to come here and to give this talk with me and for us? I know that for many of us in our hearts and our souls, we long for a future where we're living in more of these, I call them meta-modern regenerative villages, the ancient new future that is perhaps not even possible in this lifetime or is just out of reach, but is also fully blossomed alive in our hearts. My sense is that we're just not ready for that yet. We need to be practicing and prototyping villaging on smaller scales and kind of working to build this culture in smaller prototypes and experiments across various different structures and aspects of villaging. Our friend Mitra in the Guild Heart has this beautiful quote: "It takes a village to start a village." Before the physical village, we need to plant the seeds of the village bonds within and between each other. So the Guild right now, there's actually guilds popping up kind of all over the place. It's like this amber social structure, you could say, that is re-emerging from more of a meta-modern or integral or second-tier perspective or culture. And the Sourcekeepers Guild is one emanation of that, but it's really this sense of wanting to deepen our bonds together into a vow-based commitment to help support each other and to structure systems that can help get us closer to this potential future of meta-modern regenerative villages.
Yeah, just noticing being quite moved right now. Yeah, I mean, I notice I'm standing here for my son, and I'm standing here for Tucker's future children and Daniel's future children, and also, just the multi-generational field of people and kin who are devoted to knowing that there's something that's truer and better and more beautiful that has already claimed us in our hearts. And there's a way in which we can constellate through that longing into a kind of movement that's possible that can bring it here into our lives, into the way that we relate with each other, start families and village together, create culture together. And this journey is one of really source keeping continually from the middle, because we're never at our destination. We're always in this journey of connecting with that longing, because Jeremy writes, to be human is to be in the middle, and the middle is not a center. Creation has no center. It always finds itself in the midst of its own becoming, in the middle of its own making. We are creative beings. We are beings of the middle.
So, yeah, Cheryl and I are pouring a lot of our life force and heart and soul into this work, as well as many of the folks who are in this room, and we need support. We are inviting in support. Right now, we're working to create a governing structure and also a legal structure that can house this new type of mutual aid-like economic system that can create collective resource flows. And so, if you know of someone who might be able to support us with this ideating and visioning, we'd love to talk. We also need resources. This project really only can exist if it's resourced, if money flows into the whole. We really see this as patronage of a new culture. And so, many have given money to beautiful art sculptures in museums. And can we give money to source keepers who are creating the living art of the culture that we all long to participate in and be a part of?
Yeah, so in essence, the Guild is Tucker and I, but also the 35 folks who've said yes, and the many more who are praying for Sacred World. And We know that it's possible, it's here and now. And the reason why we're doing this is because of something that our heart member, Sabra Saperstein, writes.
Yeah. It feels good to be there. Not just good on the surface, but good in a deeper way that you feel in your bones, in the fabric of your being. When each part is consistently attuned to the whole begins to listen and attend to itself, and also begins to attune to the larger whole that it is a part of. There is a radiating, regenerative flow of life force moving from the center out and back again. This toroidal dynamic is ancient. It is the pulse of life-giving reciprocity. Thank you.